Today on Smoky Mountain Faith Food and Fun, we're going to sous vide a top sirloin steak. We're going to make some cheesy Gouda, scalloped potatoes, and lemon pepper garlic Brussels sprouts. This is a meal for two, so the ingredients are for two people, but you can definitely double or triple if you need to. I can guarantee this is going to be a wonderful Sunday dinner. We hope you'll stick with us and see us do a whole meal cook today. For our ingredients, we're going to use a 16-ounce top sirloin steak. That gives us both a nice 8-ounce portion. And we're going to sous vide the steak with butter, garlic powder, Himalayan pink sea salt, and pepper. And then we're going to need, for the potatoes, about 4 pounds of potatoes. I happen to have some reds and some russets on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. Gouda cheese, Parmesan cheese, milk, flour, and of course salt and pepper and garlic powder. And a little bit of thyme too. And for the Brussels sprouts, those are probably the easiest. We're simply going to use lemon pepper, garlic powder, a little bit of salt, but it really doesn't need a lot of salt because there's salt in lemon pepper, and a little bit of butter and olive oil to get those into the air fryer. We're going to do those in the air fryer. So it's going to be a great meal today, guys. Okay, guys, it is about 7 o'clock in the morning here in Tennessee, and we're going to get our top sirloin steak ready to go in the sous vide a little bit later this afternoon. Brooksy and I like our steaks medium rare, so it really isn't going to take very long in the sous vide before we can just throw it in the pan, sear it, and it'll be done. And we're planning to use the sauce, the juices, to saute a little bit of mushroom and onion to go with our steak. So, simplest way to do this is simply salt, and pepper, and garlic powder. And we want to definitely, with sous vide, you need to sprinkle it liberally so that you have quite a bit. I'm going to flip it over. Oh, that looks yummy. And same thing. Salt. Pepper. And garlic powder. And we're going to throw this little pat of butter on top because that's simply going to just make things more yummy and delicious when it's finished, and that will go in the mushrooms and onions when we sear off the steak when we're finished. And we're going to go ahead and get our sous vide bag ready. Again, you always fold over the top half so that you don't contaminate the part that we're going to seal with the food. And throw Mr. Steak in that bag. Use a big one in me. It's going to make two nice portions for Brooks and I. One 8-ounce portion each. And we got the steaks at Aldi. We got these steak at Aldi for a little one under $8. So, you know, you can't even go out to eat for fast food for that little. Let me just put this in the sink real quick so we can wash those meat juices off. And I'll show you how we seal it up. But for $8, we're getting a beautiful cut of meat. And you can't even get a Big Mac for $4 each. So I'm pretty happy. And of course, Brooks' favorite food in the whole world is probably steak, so he's very happy. So again, we're going to throw it in our vacuum sealer, making sure that the opening is where it needs to be so the air will come out. Push it down, press vacuum and seal. And Brooksy brought me a surprise yesterday. He got me a real sous vide container, so I don't have to use the pot anymore. That's kind of exciting. There it is. Now I'm going to throw that in the fridge, and when it's ready to sous vide, all I've got to do is put it in the sous vide container, turn on the sous vide, and let it cook. How do you like your steak? If you leave in the comments how you like your steak. And have you ever thought about sous videing? I can definitely highly recommend this method of cooking. It's been fun, and most of all, it is actually easy. So I'm going to come back in just a few minutes, and we're going to prepare our potatoes for scalloped potatoes. I'm going to show you just a little bit of how I'm going to get the potatoes ready, and then we will come back later this evening and get dinner put together. Okay, for our scalloped potatoes, we needed about 3 pounds of potatoes. Again, I'm using red and russet because that's what I had and needed to use some of the reds up. And I peeled them and washed them, and you definitely should peel them for scalloped potatoes, though they're your potatoes, so you can do what you want with them. And I'm using the Pampered Chef mandolin. It's a wonderful, very, very quick and easy way to get your potatoes sliced uniform. So I'm just going to show you a little bit about how we use this mandolin to make uniform slices of potatoes. And I had user error. There we go. Put the thing in the wrong way. If you can see this, those are perfect. About 1/8 of an inch, and they're perfect for scalloped potatoes. And I used smaller potatoes for this so that they fit in the mandolin nicely. I'm going to flip that one around. And I think they'll just cook more evenly. So this little mandolin makes things go really quick. And that is it. We are ready for scalloped potatoes, and they are perfect. So when it's time to make scalloped potatoes, I'll bring you back and we'll show you what we're going to do. And for now, these guys are going to go hang out in a pool of water and relax for the day, because I always do my meal prep in the morning. See you back soon. For our lemon, pepper, garlic, roasted Brussels sprouts, which we're going to roast them in an air fryer, we need 1 pound of Brussels sprouts. They come in a 1 pound bag at Aldi's. If you've got an Aldi's, I highly recommend you checking out their produce and their meats, because they are really great products for a little bit less money. So for our Brussels sprouts, we're going to need to go ahead and take off the ends and cut them in half. And if they're really tiny, we're not going to cut them in half. But But this is a very, very simple and delicious way to cook Brussels sprouts and bring out that wonderful flavor of the itty bitty little cabbages. A lot of people don't like Brussels sprouts, but if you do, I hope you will stick with us. And if you don't, maybe you'll try it this way. All right, so I'm gonna throw these guys over the side and simply cut off the end and cut it in half. These have been washed and throw it in our strainer. Doing this for the whole pound. Okay friends, we had a little bit of a camera glitch and it stopped recording. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you quickly what I did. We threw the Brussels sprouts in a zipper bag. But first, before we did that, we added somewhere between 2 and 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of lemon pepper. Now remember, lemon pepper has salt in it, so you don't need extra salt. And a good tablespoon of garlic powder. And we kind of took our hands and smushed the bag so that the spices would incorporate with the olive oil. We put our Brussels sprouts in, and we gave them a little bit of a massage, kind of like this, to make sure that all the little sprouts got some olive oil and spices. We're going to put those in the fridge until I'm ready to air fry them at dinner time. So we will come back and show you how to do that in just a little while. Okay friends, we are ready to sous vide our top sirloin. It has been in the sous vide vacuum sealed bag all day in the refrigerator and absorbing the flavor of those spices that we just put on it this morning. And I've got my sous vide set at 129 degrees. And that is the right temperature to make sure that this steak gets cooked to a nice medium rare. And it leaves it rare enough that we can sear it in the pan when it's finished and put a nice char on it, and it'll still be medium rare once we cut into it. Now, if you like your steaks more well done, you can go all the way up to like 140, I believe, on a steak and still have like a medium cooked steak. We do not recommend well done steak for anyone, but if that's what you like, I would suggest doing the research on the temperatures at which you would cook it well done. So we've got our sous vide container here. Thanks to my lovely husband who has gotten me a sous vide container. And we're going, I can't do this two-handed, one-handed. Anyway, we're gonna lift up our little lid here and pop our steak in. And it has sunk to the bottom as it should with a good seal. And we're gonna let that cook for about 2 hours. So what we're going to do while it cooks is we're going to go ahead and get our Gouda scalloped potatoes ready and in the oven. So I'm going to see you back over at the stove so that we can make a roux. See you in a minute. Okay, friends, we are at the stove and we are going to start the roux or the sauce for our Gouda scalloped potatoes. And I think it's going to be delicious. So I've got 4 tablespoons of butter melting in my pan. And once that gets completely melted and starts to sizzle a little bit, we're going to go ahead and put our flour in there. And I've got 1/3 cup of flour, and that's going to make our roux. And we'll add in our spices as our roux cooks. Of course, we have scalloped sliced our potatoes using our mandolin. And again, if you don't have a mandolin, just go ahead and use a knife and slice them as uniform as you can. All right, our butter is nearly melted, and we're going to go ahead and sprinkle in our flour. And using a whisk, we're going to incorporate the flour so that it kind of makes a paste. We want to get the lumps out, and we want to let the flour sort of bake or cook so that it's not raw pasting in our sauce. You don't want to burn it, but you just want to kind of cook out that flour taste. Some people say cook it until it smells like pie crust, but I personally have never had it smell like pie crust. That's not what I think it smells like. But it usually takes a minute or two. Alright, just so. I'm going to add in a little bit of my milk. I've got 2 cups of milk. We use 2% milk. And as we add it, that flour is going to absorb. I'm just adding a little bit at a time. And whisk, whisk, whisk. And I'm going to turn my heat down now because our butter is melted. And we don't want to burn anything. I've got my heat on about a 3. And keep adding in our milk. Whisk, whisk, whisk. You really just want to whisk those lumps out as we add the liquids. Oh, a messy cook. That's okay. Just keep on mixing it around. I'm not sure if 2 cups of milk is going to be enough, but we'll see as soon as we have it all added. Go ahead and add the rest. Once we get this all incorporated and we can see the lumps are working their way out, we will add in our salt, pepper, garlic powder, thyme, and Parmesan cheese. Yes, I know it's a Gouda scalloped potatoes, but the Parmesan cheese really adds an extra kick of flavor. And as you whisk this is definitely cooking through, and the lumps are starting to go away. And that is forming into a really nice roux. Okay, I can go ahead and add our spices. I've got thyme, and I'm gonna put probably a teaspoon of thyme in the roux. It might be a little less than a teaspoon, but I think it's enough. And garlic powder. I would say about the same amount of garlic powder. And salt and pepper. Nobody wants it to be bland. Pepper, I would say half a teaspoon. And then we've got our salt. And I'm gonna start with a half a teaspoon of salt. And then before I put the casserole together, I'm gonna go ahead and taste it and see what I think, because the Parmesan cheese, which I have a quarter of a cup, that's actually probably what's left here, also has salt. So you don't need it to be overly salty. So I'm gonna go ahead, mix all that stuff in. Looks wonderful. So much of our cooking is just looking to see, hey, is this enough? And sometimes you just have to modify. I actually believe I'm going to add a little bit more milk. Because as it cooks and gets thicker, I can tell if it's how it's gonna be. But that's why I have the camera on the stove, so that you can see exactly the consistency of what I'm doing. And I have to adjust the camera just a little bit. There we go. I think that's almost perfect. And you can see all the spices and stuff floating around in there. And it makes it yummy. Alright, so I gotta taste it. Oh my goodness. Yum! So, to my palate, as it stands right now, it is slightly salty. But that's okay, because the potatoes are gonna absorb that. And this is kind of the same way with my potato salad recipe, which I will share at some point. It always tastes a little salty to me when I put it together, but then once I add the potatoes, it kind of works its way out. So, all right, we are done with the whisk, and now I'm gonna come back in just a second to show you how we put the scalloped potatoes with Gouda together. Okay friends, we are ready to put this casserole together. I've put a few nice dollops of the roux sauce on the bottom of I think this is about a 7 by 10 or 7 by 11 pan. This fits in our toaster oven, which is our preferred method of baking, just because it's easier and you're not heating up a whole big oven, and it's usually just the two of us. But if I'm making a lot of things, I'll use the big oven. But this little toaster oven is good. So we're just layering a layer of the potatoes on top of the first layer of the roux, or the sauce, however you want to call it. And it's gonna be so good. And the Gouda, oh my goodness, it's going to be Gouda. I don't do this pretty, I just do it. Because once you put the cheese on top, it ain't gonna matter. I'm trying to put about half of my potatoes on this layer before I layer another layer of the sauce. It's going to be Gouda. Okay, that's not half. All right, so I'm gonna take my sauce and about half of what I've got left in the pan, I'm gonna put on this layer. And just spread it around. I'm sorry for the camera shake, guys. We do not have a professional studio, unfortunately. Maybe someday. If you guys keep liking and subscribing on these videos, we might get to the point where we can have a professional studio kitchen. You never know. A girl can dream, right? All right. That's pretty good. Now we're gonna add in the rest of our potatoes. And I'm gonna go willy-nilly here. I threw them in a bag, Ziploc bag, with some water so that they wouldn't turn brown while we had them chilling this morning, because I did the chopping this morning. So if you put them in water, a little bit of salt water, they will. Oh, we got a bad piece there. I didn't notice that. They'll stay good. Obviously, if you have a black part on your potato, that's not a good piece, and you need to get rid of it. That'll do it. All right, so next we will take what's left in our pan and put that on the top. And then we're gonna bake it uncovered for 45 minutes to an hour. Oh, wait a minute. We forgot the other most important part. We're gonna put a layer of Gouda on the top. I think if I do this again, I might make a little bit more of the sauce, but we will be okay. I think any way you stack it, it's gonna taste good. All right. Alright, we have sliced Gouda. We get the sliced Gouda down at Aldi's. And we're just going to place that right on top. and let it do its thing in the oven. I can't imagine that this isn't going to be amazing. This is a test recipe. I got a few pointers from some other recipes, but this is mostly my own. All right, we are going to put this baby in a 350 oven. I'm going to set it for 45 minutes and see where we're at, and then we will come back and show you the finished product. And of course our steak is in the sous vide, and our Brussels sprouts are going to go in the air fryer, but that's quick and easy. So we'll be back. We're in the 350 oven for, let's put that timer down to 45 minutes. Alrighty, our top sirloin in the sous vide looks like it is ready for a beautiful sear and ready to be eaten. So we're going to get this over to the stove and get some mushrooms and onions sauteed in those juices, and then we are going to be ready to eat. Okay, there is our top sirloin steak, and all we do, as with all things in the sous vide world, when you have meat that you're going to sear, you simply wipe it off a little bit, being careful not to get the seasonings off of it. And it is definitely a perfect medium rare. Oh my goodness, how beautiful. Alright, 1 second, and we're going to throw this baby in the pan for about a minute on each side. Alright, we are ready for this beautiful top sirloin to get its sear on. Yeah. And again, we're going to go about a minute on each side just to get it beautifully seared and crispy on the outside, but still that beautiful medium rare pink on the inside. And I have reserved the juices from the steak, and we're going to just throw a little bit of butter in the pan and some mushrooms and onions to go with the steak. We are having a feast tonight, y'all. How pretty is that? And I think that's going to do it. Pretty close. You don't want it to go too long. Yeah. Alright. Let's throw in some butter. Our onions. Some of these mushrooms. A little more garlic powder. A few shakes of thyme. I'm going to cook that for just a minute, and then we're going to add our juices from our steak back into this pan. Just emptying out that bag of those juices from that steak. And if you could smell this, you might drool. And it's been probably 2 or 3 minutes, and we are just letting these mushrooms and onions cook down in those beautiful juices and the butter and the bits from the steak. And they are just about looking done. A few more, maybe another minute or 2 on those mushrooms. We don't want them to be cooked so much that we lose all the how do you say it? We don't want them to be mushy. Oh, that looks good. I'm just going to hit it with a little tiny bit of salt. And then I think we're really, really good on these. right. I think we are good to go on the mushrooms and onions. Okay, friends, we've got our Brussels sprouts laid out on our air fryer tray. Again, if you have the basket, you would do the same thing. You would just layer them into the basket there. Now these are layered just a little bit thick, but it doesn't look like very many are overlapping on each other, so it should be okay. And so we are going to put those in the air fryer for on 375, and we're going to go for about 18 to 20 minutes. In the air fryer they go. Okay, friends, we are at just under 3 minutes to go on our Gouda creamy scalloped potatoes. And oh my goodness, don't those look wonderful? I can't wait to try them. Coming up next, we're going to put our Brussels sprouts in the air fryer, and we're going to release that steak from the sous vide and get it seared and plate everything up and eat dinner because it all smells so good. The Brussels sprouts are definitely done and they look so delicious. Look at that. Look how delicious the Brussels sprouts look. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, I hope they are as good as they look, but I think they are because they smell fantastic. Wow. We are gonna plate things up and get this dinner on the road. Or on the table. How about that? Look at this beautiful Gouda creamy, delicious scalloped potatoes. Oh my goodness, that cooks so nice. Look at these. Oh, they look really, really good. All that cheese on top. Yeah, I'm gonna take a little tiny taste. Oh, it's hot. Wow, that's gonna go so good with the steak and the Brussels sprouts. And they're just good. Trust me, they're just good. We are gonna turn our attention to this beautiful steak that we've made in the sous vide and then seared. I can tell already it's perfect. Look how pretty. Beautiful. Just a top sirloin, cooked a perfect medium to medium rare. And juicy. Oh, it's juicy. And tender. So tender. Alright, now Brooks is waiting on this. He wants his steak because he loves it. So we're going to go ahead and get plated up and meet Brooks at the table and see what he thinks.
So we've been preparing the meal. Christy has been preparing the meal today. Sauteed mushrooms and onions, a perfect medium rare sous vide sirloin steak. Her own homemade, scratch-made au gratin potatoes, cheesy, and air-fried Brussels sprouts, which is one of my favorite vegetables. So, anyway, this meal cooked many different ways, and yet she utilized just about everything in the kitchen. And I got to tell you, quite a feast. But this is really not very much money. this is kind of budget cooking right here. I think total, what would you say per plate, honey? Maybe $10?
$8, $9 at the very most.
Okay, so about $9. About $9. That's with steak and everything. So you don't say that you can't have a good steak dinner for less than 20 bucks, because that's not true. We're having it for about $9. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into this here. Brussels sprouts. Yeah. Potatoes are good. Well, the creamy potatoes with the cheese sauce and everything. And then the Gouda on top. That's good. Mushrooms and onions. It's paired really well. How about we try that steak? It's so good. I'm gonna tell you what. Get you a sous vide machine and try it. You will not want me any other way. And I gotta tell you, as much as I love steak on the grill, searing this steak and doing it sous vide is so good. It is so good. But for now, I'm gonna go eat and enjoy this meal that the wife has prepared, and watch some more football. In the meantime, we love you guys, and enjoy the rest of your night, and just don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and of course click that notification bell so that you'll know when Christy's doing more of these videos. We do have exciting things coming up, and I know she's talked about it, so enjoy it. God bless you all. If you've got prayer requests, of course, leave us a comment. We're happy to pray for you. The channel is called Faith, Food, and Fun. So faith comes first. Without that, there is no food or fun. So remember that. Until next time, like I said, we love y'all. Good night.